Göller Dunkel.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Brands, Bikes and Booze Reviews? Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've not even had a bloody drink yet. This is one from the Brauerei Göller, and it is their Dunkel. Now, again, this was another one from the House of Trembling Madness that I wasn't sure about, and it was a beer that was in the German section, and yes, it does come from Bavaria and it comes from Franconia. Now, I'm not really making it my mission to work my way through every single brewery in Franconia, but it does appear that a lot of the online retailers, the beers that they sell mainly come from Bavaria, and I'm not sure what it is, but I think obviously the beer is good in Bavaria. There's very few that I think are bad. Now don't get me wrong, there are a couple, and I've reviewed a couple on the channel that were very, well, below par, and some were downright disgusting. I remember one that was made out, I think it was millet, and fuck knows what they'd done with that, but that came from Bavaria and it was fucking horrible. So not everything's great, but the majority of German beers that you find online, they do tend to come from that area. There are exceptions, of course, Beck's, Jever, Holsten, etc. I mean, the Holsten you get over here is not the same as what you get in Germany. In fact, I was talking to a mate of mine from Germany, and he was saying that the Holsten we get over here, the Holsten Pils, you just don't get it in Germany. So I'm not sure what the hell they're brewing over here. I think they may have just taken the name, but it ain't that great, to be honest. There's a lot of glucose syrup in it, and I don't drink it anymore, to be honest. It was quite popular years ago, and you could get it in bottles. I think it was brewed over here. Maybe it was imported when they first brought it over. I do remember it in the 80s, but yeah, what you've got now, it's brewed up in that fucking hellhole up in Northampton. That, is it Carlsberg that's up there? Yeah, not great. Anyway, point being that most of the beer you buy online comes from Bavaria. Hence the reason most of the beers, the German beers I review, do come from that region. But this one is a little bit special. They've been brewing for over 500, well, they can trace their lineage back over 500 years to the 16th century, and they've been consistently brewing since then. And it's still, as far as I can tell, a family-run brewery. They are quite exceptional in that the 3 or 4 generations of the brewmasters, who all come from the same family, have been voted best brewer in Germany. Now, that is no mean feat, and for that to have happened quite a few times to the same family, different members obviously, is pretty unique. And I've been, before I started this video, I was researching about this brewery. They've won quite a few gold craft beer awards, which you may think, oh, it doesn't mean much and all that, but this was for non-alcoholic beer they were winning it for. So, and that was a Hefeweizen. That was in 2021 as well. It's quite recent. I don't really review non-alcoholic beers on the channel. It's just really just not a thing of mine, to be honest. And I mean, if you want to start a channel reviewing alcoholic beers, I mean, there is obviously a market for it. You see it now. It's very popular. The German brewers have been doing it for years, but it's becoming more and more popular. Sometimes people just don't want to drink beer. Some people have to give it up for various reasons, and I'm not knocking people who drink non-alcoholic beer. It's just not for me at the moment. I'm not one of these people that if I go to a pub I have to have some kind of beer. There's been several times where I've just had soda water and lime if I've been driving or I'm doing a gig. I don't normally drink if I'm playing, certainly not before. Made that mistake once, wasn't fucking good. I was drinking Stella at the time, fucking hell, that was in Doncaster, Absolute fucking disaster that was. That was in a pub called the Leopard. I think it's gone now. Any of you Yorkshiremen from the People's Republic of Yorkshire who know Doncaster will know that the Leopard was it was quite a good little venue actually. I think it's gone. I did hear it's quite near the station, and there was an upstairs venue to it, and it was really good. Nice big stage and all that. Quite a big venue too. Sad. It's sad. It breaks my heart when I see all these venues closing. Not just in London, but all over the country as well. You know, live music is, I wouldn't say it's dying a death, but if there's nowhere to play, then what future does that have for bands? But yeah, I'm fucking digressing. Let's get back to this beer. Well, this is a Dunkel. Now, I've tried their Pilsner. I don't think I've put it up on the channel yet. And I'm not sure which order this is going to go up, but as I always say, I've got a big archive of beers that I reviewed and videos. They don't normally go up in order. I don't know, I just have a completely random way of doing it, but I like to keep it sort of fairly balanced, of putting German beers, Belgian beers and world beers and British beers up sort of in some sort of fashion, alternate fashion, so you're getting a balanced view of different countries' types of beers. But I have to say, I am looking forward to this one because this is a Dunkel. It's one of my favourite German styles. I say that about every German style. I don't know, I say that about Doppelbock, I say that about Weizen, and I say that about Helles as well. So yeah, I just like German beer. But this one does look good. It's won quite a lot of awards as well. I mean, it's got on the side, it's got a silver award there. And there's a rumour that this has been going since 1978. They first started brewing this in 1978. And they said when they did, its reputation went all over the country as being one of the best beers in the country. And I don't know whether that's them blowing smoke up their own arses, but I'll be the judge of that. But it does look quite good. So I'm not going to carry on labouring this point. Let's investigate this beer. Right, unfortunately there was no brew sheet on the website, but they do make a big point of sourcing local ingredients. So for example, the malt, they say, does come from around, I think is it Schweinfurt and Bamberg. Now Bamberg has got a bit of a reputation for being very good for malt, so that does bode well. And I was looking, as I say, I was researching this before, and I was looking at some of the beers they do. They have a craft beer range, they do IPAs, they do a Scottish lager, which is whiskey infused, and it also has like a slightly peaty flavour. I'd love to try that. I'd love to see what their take is. Now, if you've tasted Scottish lager, I'm thinking fucking Tennant's and shit like that, and believe me, it is shit. But their take on Scottish lager, they think it's all romantic, you know, with like whiskey infused and peat infused and all that. But yeah, novel idea. Wouldn't mind trying it, so I'll see if I can get hold of that. They also do an IPA as well. Now, you may knock this, and you know my views on these new craft IPAs, etc. But the Germans tend to get it right, and I've got a mate, again, that same mate, and he loves his German craft IPAs. And I've tasted them, and they don't really taste like anything like the craft IPAs that are brewed over here. They're very much in keeping with the German style, and they really are not bad at all. So again, that's another one I really should check out. But they do the full range. They do Doppelbocks, they do a Helles, they do a Weizenbock, they do a Weizen, they do Radlers, etc. But the interesting thing, now I've just reviewed the Schlenkerla, that was the Ika. That was really nice. That was a smoked Doppelbock. They do smoked beer as well, and they are one of the few German brewers that do smoked beer, so that's interesting too. I really should check this brewery out more, because on paper they look really good. Anyway, we're supposed to be reviewing what this beer is. It's a 500ml bottle. It's 5.2%. Conforms to the Reinheitsgebot. That doesn't mean a thing. Everything else is in German. This is a Dunkel, which is a dark lager. Dark beer with roasted malt to give it a nice dark colour, and bottom fermented, so yeah, it's a lager. This has just come out of the fridge. It's quite cold. In fact, it is very cold indeed. I should turn that fridge down. It's getting fucking arctic in that fridge. I don't know why. It's going a bit mental. And the beers are coming out really cold. And I do like beers, certain beers, to be really cold. But I think when you have it too cold, I mean, it's a scientific fact that if you have beers too cold, you just can't taste anything. But I think I should lower that because these are coming out really cold. I mean, or is it me just getting old and feeling the cold? Who knows? Enough about my fucking alien health. Let's get this beer open and see what's going on. Now, there are some fantastic dark beers that come out of Germany. My favourite at the moment, and it has been for a while, a couple of years in fact, is the Altbayerisch Dunkel from Einga. That is an absolutely amazing beer. And when I was going into the office at work, there was a German bar just around the corner, and I did many a night on the Altbayerisch Dunkel. In fact, I drank them completely out of it. It was that good. And I haven't tasted one. I mean, a lot have come close. I mean, really close. Hacker-Shaw, for example, that springs to mind immediately as being fantastic. But most of the Bavarian Dunkels are really good. But I haven't yet had one that has topped the Einga Altbayerisch Dunkel. And as I say, I did an order from House of Trembling Madness, and I ordered the Altbayerisch Dunkel, the unfiltered, which is really, really intriguing. And I've ordered it twice, and twice they've substituted it. And they substituted it this time with the Schlenkerla Ika, which was really good. And the last time, I think they substituted it with some Hacker-Shaw Keller beer. But it was amazing. I mean, it really was good. So I'm not complaining. But I do want to try that Altbayerisch Dunkel unfiltered, because the filtered stuff is absolutely amazing. What's the unfiltered stuff going to taste like? Even better. Who knows? While I'm talking, I'm getting the aromas from this, and it's absolutely gorgeous. There it is in the glass. Dark, as you would expect. Looks a little bit like a ruby ale on the nose. Lovely. Really nice, sweet, bready type malt. Little touch of caramel on that too. Just really good. You know that liquid bread aroma that you get from really good German beers? Well, you're getting that in bundles with this. And it smells absolutely gorgeous. And I'm just going to pour a little bit more in there. Let's get the whole lot in there. Now this is filtered, so there's no floaters in this fucking thing. As is in keeping with the Dunkel or dark lager style. That is good. Let's get it down the hatch. Zum Wohl, as they say in Germany. Oh, this is lovely. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That is amazing. I can see why they've won awards now. Wow. Loads and loads of that liquid bread type flavour. You know the flavour if you've drank German beer. This is a real good one. Lovely and smooth. And this is quite cold as well. I'm probably masking a lot of the flavours, but even if I am, it's still bursting with flavour. So on a warm day, you could definitely shove loads of this down your fat Gregory Peck. Very refreshing, I'd imagine it'd be too. I'm really liking this. Yeah, good. Really good. There's even a little bit of hop character coming through now, which is nice because the initial few mouthfuls, it's all about the malt. As your palate adjusts, then there's little hoppy notes coming through there. A typical German noble hop type flavour, slightly grassy and herbal. slightly earthy too, but subtle. Oh, it's lovely. It's really nice and super drinkable as well. You could easily session this. 5.2. I mean, to be honest, I think the AB... We were talking about this the other day, actually, about ABVs and stuff like that. And I've got a very knowledgeable mate who I'll go drinking with every now and again when it comes to, well, almost everything, really. He's an expert mechanic. An absolute fucking genius when it comes to computers and coding and stuff. But he loves his beer. And he was saying he remembers from years ago that 5% beer wasn't that common. And things like this would be a novelty, and you know you'd have to take it easy. I think that's the missus just turning up from work. That's hence the dogs are going mental. But yeah, he was saying that sort of 5.2%, and your session beers will be in the sort of 3%, sometimes even 2% as well, especially when you're talking about mild and stuff. But that seems to have changed now. 5% is common. In fact, it's more or less expected. It's a bit of a novelty now when you see a 3% beer. But yeah, it's definitely sessionable. I don't know what state you'd be in afterwards though. Lovely. Really good. Very impressed. So what is the verdict on Göller Dunkel? Yeah, it's a good one. Definitely worth checking out. I don't think it quite matches up to the Altbayerisch Dunkel, but it's certainly not disappointing at all. Everything you'd expect from a decent German Dunkel is there. You've got that lovely caramel malt, the sweet bready type malt that leaves a long lingering aftertaste. There's a little bit of hop bitterness on the finish on that, and you get some of them nice noble hop notes on the finish. They're more subtle. This really is all about the malt, as is normal on a Dunkel, but it's good. And this brewery, reading up on them, they are impressive, and I think I'm going to have to check out some more of their stuff, because from what I've been reading, the beers are all good quality, and you would expect that coming from Franconia, because the competition is just insane around there. 200 breweries, over 200 breweries in that region. You've got to be good, otherwise you won't last. This apparently has won a silver medal. I'd love to know what has won the gold medal. But yeah, I really do recommend this. This is a nice one. Got that from the House of Trembling Madness. Wasn't too expensive. That was under £3. Really nice. And it's one thing I've noticed in the supermarkets is that they don't really sell Dunkels. It's all about the Hellas's. That's a real shame, because this is a really flavoursome style of beer, and I think it would appeal to both ale drinkers and to lager drinkers as well. So, I don't know, supermarket representatives, if you're watching, get some Dunkel in there. Maybe the Paulaner stuff or the Hofbrau Dunkel. Two excellent dark beers. When they're doing the Hellas's, why not go the whole hog? They've got the wheat beers in there. Certainly the Paulaner wheat beer, that's available in Morrison's, so maybe they should. This I'm going to give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. It's definitely up there with the good ones. And as I say, I don't think it's quite as good as the Altbayerisch Dunkel, but it is good. I mean, it really is. And as I say, there's a couple that really do stand out. The Iinga, the Hacker-Shaw, even the Paulaner Dunkel is quite nice too. And Hofbrau Dunkel as well, that's another good one. So yeah, the competition is pretty stiff. So you're going to get a good one either way. I mean, the worst Dunkel probably tastes better than any craft dark German beer or attempt at a craft German beer that comes from America or the United Kingdom. But there you go. That's just my assumption. 8.5 out of 10, definitely recommended. And remember, beer is working class champagne.